In the Ngarrindjeri, the artwork is of all the places that my descendants come from, so that I have cultural obligation and cultural right to paint of. So I can only speak on places that my particular family comes from and paint them particular stories that belong to that area. Even though like it's a vast story, like for Narunderi, for instance, as he come down the River Murray and chased a Murray cod as he was looking for his miminas who had sort of gotten lost, and they had come south before him and his miminas, his wives and his paulies, his sons. As he was chasing them, he was canoeing along the Darling River, and he come across Pondi, the big Murray cod fish. As he seen Pondi, he was like, yeah, I might catch him for feed, you know. Well, he didn't say, yeah, he's saying, yeah, I'm definitely going to spear him for feed, you know. And but Pondi being a tricky big fella, he seen the spear coming, so he burst through the Ruwi, through the earth, and he chased it and followed Thukeri's tracks all the way down into Ngarrindjeri country. And as he chased them down, he followed in his canoe and he moved along. As he moved along, they had shaped what is now the River Murray. So this painting is actually starting just before Murray Bridge, because that's actually where my boundary starts, like within my family lineage. It starts before Murray Bridge, and that's what this is depicting, and coming down into Tailem Ben and Wellington. So we call Tailem Ben Talalang, and Wellington is Wayungari, and this particular area is representing Marangoon, and this is the place that is the second last place that our people, like our traditional burial grounds, they all are throughout our lands. Then and Nepele, when as he seen the smoke signal coming over the lake, as he seen it coming over the lake, he knew that he had to go and help his brother-in-law. And as he jumped in his canoe and he pulled out, and I didn't want to put Nepele in there with the canoe because you're going to take away from Pondi, because it's going to be sort of cramped in there, you know. So I thought, no, we'll leave Pondi as big as we can get him, and Nepele's all right sitting here. As he moved over, it was there that he was waited for Ngarrindjeri to come down to follow him. As he waited for Ngarrindjeri to come down, so just in this region is sort of like a cliff, and then you come down like a couple of hills, and then you get to the entrance into the Lake Alexandrina then. And there's over a little hill that he had come over, and he had seen Nepele waiting at a sandbed for him. And Nepele seen Pondi swimming flat out around the lake. He had then looking around for his spear, he couldn't find it. So he looked up, he seen Ngarrindjeri, and Ngarrindjeri threw his spear to him to help him catch Pondi. And just as they caught Pondi, they then dragged him up. As they dragged him up and started preparing him and cutting him up, they then had too much that they could eat, so they decided to put pieces back into the water. So when you see all these little fish bones here, this is represent all the fish pieces that they put back into the water to make all the fish species that we have within our waterways, that then went out to the Murray mouth and out and become saltwater fish as well. He had then thanked his brother-in-law. As he thanked his brother-in-law, he said, "Anu ninti kilo irangi, nanu nop nak ninti mandoi nop. I gotta go now. I gotta go and look for your sisters, my wives." As he moved around, he seen their tracks around Lake Alexandrina, so around what is now Malang and places like that, Clayton. He had then made a grass tree and reeds and a raft to get over, and he crossed over, and he come over to here where now Pultolic and all that is now. As he come over to this way, he had seen their tracks journeying around. He seen that his miminas, his wives, made camp, and they was cooking Thukeri, a fish forbidden for them to eat. So he followed that track down. He went to the southeast, so about 20 k's out of along the Coorong, from the stretch from what is now Meningi, is sort of where my boundary ceases. But then it goes up into Kingston, but I didn't have any room. Nah, I'm only joking. Yeah. Didn't have any room to squeeze that part in, you know. But in this part, when they were going up, he then moved around. As the wives had circled back and they followed along and they went along the Coorong, Narunderi had come back along the Coorong and he camped for a little bit. As he camped, he banged his club into the ground. As he banged his club into the ground, so that's why you see these little circles here representing the water soakages that he had made for us as he moved along. As he banged the club in, now we can dig down and drink the water. Don't drink it straight away. Wait till the sand seep, because you don't want crunchy water, you know. And then you can have a drink. And it's colder than what you can probably pull up out of the fridge. Like, it is really nice when you drink it, and it's fresh. It's filtered from the sand. It's filtered from country in itself, you know. So as you go down, you can get a nice cool drink out of it. And then as he moved along, he come along. As he moved across he come along the Kumerangk. As he come along the Kumerangk, he had then moved along to Kumerangk. And as he got along the Kumerangk, Ngarrindjeri, who lived over there right now where Signal Point is, it was there that he had seen Ngarrindjeri. And Ngarrindjeri was also his brother-in-law, the brother of his mimenas, his wives. And as he sat down with Ngarrindjeri, he thanked him for giving him rest and water and food. But then he turned around and he said, "Ano ninti kiloirongi, nanu tant, nanu leon, yayan, kiloirongi, nanu nop, nak, ninti mandoi. I gotta go now, I gotta go and look for your sisters, my wives. But thank you for the food, thank you for the rest." And he journeyed on. As he journeyed along, he went around to Middleton. As he moved around, he threw a big tree in here. As he threw a tree, he made a seabed for us. Then he moved around. As he moved around to what is now Ratalang, around to Kunjanwald. As he got to Kunjanwald, Oshi Bay, Poti Bugri is what we refer to it now. Poti mean like a real big animal, strange animal, and Bugri mean your shoe. So horse shoe basically is what you're saying. And Bugri is actually not a Ngarrindjeri term for shoe, but it's sort of like a word used by most nations through trade and things like that. But if you're actually saying shoe in Ngarrindjeri, you say Tulanjeri, because it's taraki, something connected to your foot. That's why we add the jiri at the end to it, because it belongs to. And traditionally they would have been feather shoes that would have been made in order to move around on rocks and things like that, you know. We didn't have any cutleries, any prickles or anything like that before. There were no prickles other than the prickle bush, like the tree, but we didn't have any like 3-corner jacks and things like that. There was none of that. They were bought in order to keep us away from what is now the towns of Australia, like Victor Harbour, Goolwa, Murray Bridge, Tailem Bend, places like that, because most of our people didn't wear shoes. So that was the way of sort of preventing our movement and that as well. And but we call them katri, like after the prickle bush, basically. And that's where he then sat and he made Pullen Island. But why I didn't put the rocks in the water to say that is because at this time he didn't have his net out and throw it into the water, so I didn't put the net in there because he was preparing it here. That's what these lines are around here now, before he threw it in there. But he was making all the rocks and granites and that around there.